Again, thank you for joining us for today's Social Collaboration Series webcast, Neudesic Pulse 3.0, Discover the Power of Enterprise Social Collaboration. My name is Kim Herman, and I'm the Social Media Specialist here at Neudesic, and the moderator for today's webcast. This webcast is presented by Jason Noble, General Manager of Product Development. We are very excited to have him present for us this morning. Today's webcast is a part of our Enterprise Social Collaboration series. If you are interested in learning more about Pulse, please be on the lookout for the next installment in June. After today's presentation, we will send out more information and a recording of this webcast. If you are logged on, you should be able to see the title slide that states Neudesic. To give you a brief introduction regarding features within Live Meeting, first, we encourage you to ask questions throughout the session by typing them in. To ask a question, click on the Q&A verbiage located in the toolbar on the top left side of your screen. Type your question, then click the Ask button. Please note that all questions will be held until the end. Second, we will be using the seating chart feature within Live Meeting. Changing your feedback color within this tool provides feedback to the presenter. To provide feedback, click on the feedback menu found in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Select your feedback color. Your seat in the conference center will display your selected color. Next, if you are dialed in, please make sure your mic is muted. Finally, this webcast is being recorded, and it will be available via the Neudesic website. We will email you when the link is available. If everyone is ready, please make sure your seat color is green. And at this time, I'd like to turn our presentation over to Jason.
Thanks, Kim, and I appreciate everyone joining us here this morning. We're really excited about releasing 3.0 to the market, and we want to share with you some of our insights that we've had over the past 2 years related to social business. So let me go ahead and share out my PowerPoints. Again, my name is Jason Noble. I'm the General Manager of Product Development, and prior to taking this role, I've really focused the last 12 or so years on collaboration solutions, which also included social solutions. Some of the companies and organizations that I've worked with include DARPA, the U.S. Navy, and various Fortune 500 companies. Prior to joining Neudesic, I actually founded a SharePoint-specific consultancy that was purchased by Neudesic in 2006, and we really focused on the SharePoint platform and how to bring products and services to market around that particular social collaboration set of tools. So what we're going to talk about today, we want to do a little bit of context setting as it relates to how we see social and why we think that it's important and why we really think that it's going to transform how collaboration and how work gets done in the future. We'll talk about how social adds business value. Then we'll start to drill into what's new in Pulse 3. We will attempt to level set just some of the core offerings of Pulse, but we want to make sure that you see what's new in Pulse and hopefully you share our excitement with this release. Then we'll move into a demonstration, and then finally we'll close out with a call to action. All right, so let's talk about why social. When we're defining new versions of our product, we always try to go back and realize the fact that the way that we're currently working in the enterprise and the way that our customers are working with each other, we think that it's fundamentally broken. And the reason we think that it's broken is primarily in that it's very, very difficult to find the right people to accomplish any particular job. It's also hard to track work efforts, and these aren't necessarily work efforts that you would find in an enterprise project management solution or maybe in an Excel document that you're tracking tasks in. We're talking about the tasks that you usually get assigned in your inbox. Maybe your manager says, hey, go do this inside of an email. We think that there's a better way to track those types of work efforts. It's also generally hard to know what's going on within the organization. Usually when we come to a new company, what we do is we interact with our immediate team, maybe we interact with HR, but what about the rest of the organization? How is it that we can tap into them, and how is it that we can more effectively come up to speed on what's important to the organization today? It's also hard to get help from experts. Again, just going back to that concept that you usually interact with a smaller group of individuals, which means that you're limited in the access that you have to the knowledge expertise within the organization as a whole. So we really think that currently it's very difficult to get in contact with the right experts within an organization. So those are some challenges. So how does social collaboration fix these particular problems? Well, first and foremost, it makes it very, very easy to share and gather knowledge about your company, your projects. It allows you to collect information around business strategy initiatives. And really, it's an easy way to share information with the people that you find interesting. You can obviously post files, you can share images, you can share videos to help support your thoughts and your ideas. You can reach out to people by mentioning them. Maybe you have an idea. You can directly reach out to somebody that you've been previously working with. You can ask questions of the organization. You can ask questions of individuals. And the nice thing about this is that the answers are collected in a central location so that when somebody asks the same question in the future, they're able to easily see that answer. You can share tasks, and these aren't, again, not necessarily the tasks that you are assigned from some official project management process. It's more the tasks that you get assigned today in email. We think that social is a great place to collect those types of tasks. It allows you to share those work efforts. It allows you to get recognized for the tasks that you complete, and it allows other people to come in and see what you're working on. We also see that recognition is a pretty important pillar of social. Social allows you to recognize people simply by liking the comments or the posts that they provide. You can also share particular posts when you find something that's interesting. You can either share that with a specific person, or you can share it with a group of individuals or the people that are following you. Also, messages, being able to immediately jump in and have private conversations is very important. Having those escalate into other tools is equally as important. Having a notification system whereby conversations that are most relevant and most interesting to you, having these notifications drive you to those conversations and the things that you care about is pretty important as well. And then finally, using social as a knowledge repository, that when you know somebody was talking about a particular customer or a particular client, you know it's been had previously, so you're able to go out to the social environment and search for past conversations. Maybe you're looking for a particular group of individuals, but having a nice search interface to be able to find those previous conversations is a great value add as well. Moving on to people, everyone within the social environment is given a profile. So what you're able to do is you're able to gain valuable insights into a particular employee's thoughts, what their work efforts are. Additionally, you're able to see some very common information around maybe how do I get in contact with them, but also what we think is most important is knowing what their expertise is. And we think that expertise should be something that is community validated. In a lot of systems, what you can do is you can kind of self-proclaim your skills. We think that that's fine, and that's something that you should do, but we also think that there should be some level of community validated expertise. By interacting with an individual's wall, what you're able to do is immediately reach out to that person. You're able to see what their thoughts are. You're able to see what they're working on. You're able to see all the knowledge that they're sharing, all within a very consistent, easy-to-use news feed. And then finally, giving recognition for the work that people are doing is very, very important. So having a natural way or an automatic way for giving recognition within the context of your community is important. And then finally, the ability to subscribe to the people that you find most interesting, we think is very important, because that focuses the content that you see based on the people that are most interesting to you. Social also helps you build effective teams and partnerships. This is accomplished by giving very easy and intuitive connectivity, by allowing simple file sharing, allowing asking of questions, sharing of tasks, all in a very familiar interface. Groups can be public or private. You can invite external parties. You can invite your customers, your partners. We think that this is a very modern, intuitive way to build more effective teams. As it relates to your enterprise systems, getting easy access to information is very important. I think that a lot of organizations have very sophisticated business systems that literally require extensive training to understand. And we think that social is a great way to expose the most valuable information through real-time business events, meaning that, for example, if you have a CRM system, as deals are won and lost, you can post that information and allow people to follow and consume that over time. Also, by allowing quick access to the actual source information, what you're doing is you're providing a hub into, for example, CRM, that when people find valuable conversations or information, they're able to quickly link off into those source systems. Also, building on the concept of leveraging your existing business systems, one of the systems that we see is very, very important is your CRM system. And really the objective here is to make your sales teams more effective, make them more connected, but also make them more accountable by exposing things like wins and losses. Now, we understand that some organizations and some cultures might not want to expose the losses within the CRM, but we really think that increases transparency, it increases accountability, and it really builds a sense of everyone knowing what's happening within the organization. Also, getting the right people together to work as a team to close a particular sales opportunity. We know that the sales process is very complex, and having the right people in the room at the right time really makes a difference as it relates to winning and losing business. And then finally, recognizing greatness. You know, it's nice to be able to have your manager know when you close a deal, but it's even nicer to have everyone within the enterprise know when you close a deal, and you get the recognition that you deserve. So as it relates to SharePoint, you know, SharePoint has amazing adoption within the enterprise, or amazing deployment within the enterprise. And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to increase that adoption of your existing collaboration tools. So we do this by engaging SharePoint users more effectively, giving them a very modern social collaboration environment. We enhance the visibility of data silos that sometimes exist in SharePoint world, in SharePoint environments, by allowing people to quickly access that information from one centralized or unified activity stream, as we call it. We also think that making SharePoint a repository for all, whether they're collaboration documents or official documents, is a very, very important capability that social brings to the table. So with that, what we'll do now is we'll drill into some very specific features that we've added in 3.0. We classify our features as either mega features or micro features. And so with 3.0, we've introduced two mega features in support for video. And we really attacked the problem and made sure that it wasn't just a very simple solution, but we made sure to include various factors that contributed to the solution. We also introduced messages. Messages are a great way to have private conversations within the context of your social world without having to jump over into context switching into email, for example. We've modified our SharePoint and CRM integration extensively, and we literally have over 100, some minor, some more significant experience refinements that were really focused on ensuring that you're able to optimize your feed for readability, you're able to share information as quickly and as intuitively as possible. So let's jump into video, and one of the things that we did prior to making the investment in video is we talked to our customers and we asked them, if you had the opportunity to share video in the enterprise, what kinds of videos would you share? And the results that we got back were interesting. The vast majority of the video content that enterprises are attempting to share are around training, kind of this kind of YouTube for the enterprise type of an environment. We also received a lot of feedback related to onboarding and the fact that they would like to transform their manual onboarding processes to more of a video-driven based process. We also got a lot of feedback related to how on-site or in the field type videos could be created to give status reports at construction sites or any operations that are in the field. And then there were some other kind of outline requirements around the ability to just provide employee interviews, so really build a sense of community so that you can learn more about individuals. Some folks felt that doing that through video would provide great value. So some of the challenges that we looked at when addressing video was, first of all, how do we ensure that the quality or the viewing experience is as clear and as crisp as possible? Also, how do you control network bandwidth? And how do you ensure that you have compatibility across all of the devices that might exist within your enterprise? And so the feature set that we came up to answer these challenges are, first and foremost, we provide a unified player. We also provide an encoding server or integration into an encoding server. And then finally, the delivery of content through a content delivery network. As it relates to our unified player, it provides real-time seeking, independent volume control. It provides toggling between full screen mode and embed mode. You can also embed existing videos that are found on YouTube. So really the bottom line here is that it's what you expect, no more, no less. So we haven't, we didn't try to over-engineer here. We gave you what you would expect out of a video player. As it relates to the encoding server, again, just to reiterate, encoding is critical to ensuring a quality viewing experiences on all of your devices. So the approach that we took is we researched a series of encoders, Microsoft Expression encoder, which is an encoding engine that allows for GPU accelerated H.264 encoding. It'll convert AVIs, moves, WMAs, WMVs that are optimized for viewing experience on 320, 480, or 720. We've also architected the encoding integration in a manner that supports appropriate segregation of server duties, meaning that you can have your encoding server on a completely separate server instance, server farm, and you can really build that encoding server based on your usage profile. If you plan on having very, very long videos, we give you recommendations on building a really enterprise class encoding server that's built on Expression encoder. The next integration point that we have is via content delivery network. So again, content delivery networks eliminate choppy, poor performing videos by creating copies or disseminating copies of videos to what are known as edge servers. And what this means is that when somebody attempts to view a video, that request is routed to a server that is either geographically closest to them or has the most consistent connection. And the content delivery network that we're announcing in 3 is with Amazon's CloudFront. So this is a world-class content delivery network great SLAs, and it's extremely cost effective. It's more of a pay-as-you-go type of a model. You pay based on how much content is streamed. So it's really a fantastic way to ensure that you get very consistent performance from your videos. So let's talk a minute about what's new with messages. So again, messages allow you to have conversations with people that are either private or based on a group. So some of the challenges that we wanted to address were, obviously, how do we make it so that when you're collaborating on a document and you want to have a private conversation, how do you make sure that they don't have to go over to email? We're not saying that this is necessarily a replacement for email, but we think that when you're inside of your social world, you should be able to remain there, and some conversations are meant to be private. We also felt that our customers had existing investments in unified communication technologies, primarily in Microsoft Lync. So we wanted to make sure that we had integration with Lync to the point where our customers can take advantage of those investments as well. So what we've provided is support for in-browser messaging with individuals and groups. And then also, when you're not connected to Pulse, messages are actually routed to Lync, and if you're not on Lync, they get routed to your inbox. The messaging capability supports file attachments as well, and those file attachments, if the recipient of the message is not in Pulse, they will receive a Lync chat session that includes the messages, or that includes the file attachment as well. So just to restate, messages are a great way to connect with colleagues for very, very quick answers. What you're seeing here is an instance of a conversation occurring within Pulse. Again, we give you online and offline presence and indicators. We allow file attachments. We give you a message center that is where you can go to see past messages. You can jump right into existing conversations. And again, these aren't just point-to-point, meaning one-to-one based conversations. You can have kind of group chat type sessions as well within the context of what Pulse calls groups. This messaging capability is fully supported in all of our mobile clients, which includes iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Phone 7. So let's talk about what we're introducing inside of SharePoint. So first and foremost, what we want to do is just tell you first what we do for SharePoint specifically. So one of our core value adds to SharePoint is that we transform the My Site into a very modern social collaboration environment. We do this by providing you a very clean status box that allows you to share videos and files, ask questions, share articles, mention people. We also give you the ability to do the common social capabilities of following people, commenting, liking posts, liking documents. We also give you a really nice share feature where if you see a post that comes to your activity stream and you think that it's relevant either to your followers or to another person, you can share that post with that group or with the people who follow you. We also give you suggested people, and these are people that are based on their activity within the social world. So for example, here, Hugo is someone who I'm not currently following, or that Jeff is not currently following, that is most active in the community. So we're giving you suggestions of people that you might find interesting. We also give you apps and filters. So this is a really nice way to optimize the news feed or your unified activity stream so that you're seeing the information that you want to. We give you this capability that we call lists and favorites, and once again, the objective here, both for some of the filtering apps as well as lists, is to give you the option of categorizing people and groups into quick access lists so that you're not immediately overwhelmed just based on the volume of conversations that might be hitting your activity stream. We think that giving you slices or views into your activity stream is very important for readability. We give you a notification and messaging center. So again, I previously mentioned the concept of notifications driving you to conversations. We give you that facility inside of SharePoint. And then finally, we give you what we call a social navigation bar. In this example, what you're seeing is our out-of-the-box experience. If you're a SharePoint customer, you know that you can customize SharePoint, its user experience, any way that you see fit. But we give you web parts and capabilities that allow you to add this social nav bar to any SharePoint site that keeps you always connected to the social elements of your environment. Next, we modernize your profile. So what you're seeing here is a default out-of-the-box profile experience in SharePoint. What we do is we transform that, but we don't hide the existing capabilities of SharePoint. We still give you access to your organization browser, to your content, to your tags, and to your notes. But what we do is we add some really nice capabilities around giving individuals a personal wall. This is where you can go to interact with that person. You can ask them questions. You can get their thoughts. You can see the documents that they've posted, any images and links that they posted. So you can really see everything that person is doing in the social community. Again, we give you filters so that you're able to quickly filter the activity feeds. You're quickly able to see the files that they've shared. We also have the ability to invite other people. So, if there's a new person that comes on board and you discover that this guy or gal has great opinions and you think that the CEO or the CIO should be following this person, you can invite the CEO that says, hey, you should follow Jeff. He's got some interesting things to say. We also give badges. So these are badges that are automatically generated based on contribution. So for example, here's one that is a Pulse contributor, and that just simply means that Jeff or Ellen has contributed 100 posts to the Pulse environment. We have a list of other out-of-the-box badges. Things like if you've answered more than 100 questions or received more than 100 positive votes on one of your answers, you get a badge that we call Wise Guy. So they're system-generated badges that evolve over time. Again, just to reiterate, all of this, we're not hiding the SharePoint capability. You still have access to everything within the profile. We're just enhancing that experience. We also increase the user adoption of your intranet. You may have heard of the term of the social intranet, and that's what we're providing to our SharePoint customers. So here what you're looking at is a pretty standard SharePoint intranet environment, but what we've done is right on the home page, or any page really, is we've added that real-time conversation, that activity feed that people are so used to. I think that prior to social becoming relevant, what we were seeing in intranets was very, very static content. Sometimes sites or pages or locations that were literally empty, or they had no content in them whatsoever. So what social does is it really increases the user adoption. It increases the sense of life within your intranet. We also allow you to, again, share videos right within the context of the activity stream. We give you the ability to ask questions and assign tasks and create articles. We also allow you to have document level or item level conversations. What you're seeing here is an example of a document where the conversation is happening inside the document itself. So instead of having to go out and ask April or Brad, what's the latest, or can you make revisions to the launch day rules and regulations document, you can have that conversation right within the context of the document itself. And again, this is applicable to anything within SharePoint, so that's tasks, that could be pages, blogs, wikis, etc. You can add this social capability inside of any element. Also, the ability to upload directly into SharePoint. This is one of the new things that we've added for 3.0. We've listened to our customers, and we realized that SharePoint is a very important investment. People really want to see files inside of SharePoint so that you can get things like metadata, records retention, e-discovery. So what you're able to do in Pulse 3 is immediately upload into your SharePoint library as predefined by system administrators. I'll drill into that during the demonstration, but it's a really exciting capability that essentially allows you to use SharePoint as your file store. We also allow you to connect with customers. What I had previously mentioned was the fact that we're really focused on the intranet and the MySite capability. But our friends over at the Microsoft Technology Center in Philadelphia, they had a requirement to engage with their customers more effectively. And so what we do there is we allow you to add Facebook-based connections into your public-facing website. So again, if you're a customer that's using SharePoint as a web content management system, we can immediately add value to that environment and immediately add community and a connection with your customers. You can choose to use Facebook as your authentication provider. You can use a custom-built. We just think that Facebook, obviously, the most relevant network of individuals. It's a great way to get people to sign up to your site. So what you're seeing here is how we've immediately added a customer community and all of the features of Pulse inside of a public-facing website that allows anonymous access. But then for certain areas of content, for the community aspects, ask the customer to validate via Facebook. All right, so let's talk about what we've done with Dynamics CRM specifically. So in, I forget the timing, but it was probably around 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more, 6, 8 months ago, Dynamics CRM introduced capabilities inside of CRM. So what we've done in 3 is we've integrated with that activity feeds model, but what we've done is we've significantly enhanced what you're able to do in the context of CRM. First and foremost, these conversations and this collaboration extends outside of people within, outside users that are not inside of CRM. So again, you're significantly increasing the network of users that you can collaborate with. But we have integrated with the activity feeds to the point where as deals are won and lost, or as events are occurring within an opportunity, those are automatically pushed to the what we call the unified activity stream. We've also made significant investments in integrating the security model so that this conversation that you're seeing here on the right that's associated with the Jim Do opportunity, for example, is security trimmed so that only people who have access to this opportunity are able to see those conversations. We've also provided single sign-on, which means that when you connect to CRM, those credentials can be shared with Pulse. Also, we have integration with what we're calling a system hub. And the system hub is a really nice way to discover information or conversations that are happening within your enterprise systems. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump over. We're going to do a quick demonstration, just give you some of the highlights of the new features. And then at the end, we're going to save some time for some Q&A, as well as give you a call to action. So what I'm going to do now is I will go ahead and just share out my desktop. Okay, so what you're looking at here is your news feed. And essentially the center portion of the screen is obviously made up of the things, the people, the groups, and the systems that you follow. We've refined our status box to clean it up, to remove some of the user experience that we were finding was kind of running along the top here. We've made it so that sharing videos is done below. You can upload from a local file, upload videos. We've made it so that the images capability is accessed from here. I want to drill a little bit into, again, what we've added related to linking into SharePoint. So what you're seeing here is you can upload a local file, which means, hey, just browse to my local machine. But you can also from the back-end perspective, configure what we call as file sources or file locations. And this means that you can specify which SharePoint sites you want people to upload content to. So for example, here's a link to a document center, and you can see that we're fully integrated with SharePoint in the sense that we understand that, you know, sometimes there's different credentials that occur. So here you're seeing a Windows prompt, which is expected for a SharePoint environment. But what you're able to do is immediately link into the SharePoint world, right? So this user experience is SharePoint. We're just giving you access where Pulse understands that SharePoint has documents inside of it. So you're able to actually select those individual documents. You can actually upload right from this environment as well. So as you share those documents, a link is created back into that document. So SharePoint owns the security, SharePoint owns the metadata and everything related to that. So again, much tighter integration as it relates to the individual documents. So inside of your status, you can obviously do things like mentioning. So as I start to type, I typed in @Jeff Hay. So you can mention individuals, and what happens is Jeff will, if he has his email notifications set appropriately, he'll receive an email. He'll also receive a social notification, which can be found up here. So here are all the conversations that I've been asked to participate in. We also allow you to mention other groups. So for example, there's a group out there called Marketing Strategy for Widget A. So you're able to mention groups within the context of your posts as well. So again, just building on the concept that sometimes status updates are not just text-based, they should drive individuals to certain locations. We build on that capability. So going into people, just give you a quick view of what happens within our people browser. And again, all of this capability is available within SharePoint. I'm going to jump over to that SharePoint mode here in a second. But we give you some nice views to see who the most active people are. When you hover over Brad, for example, I'm already following Brad, but you get immediate access to be able to follow them. You can also start a message instance. You can call Brad. You can also email directly from his contact card. We do have an online offline capability, and this little circle here, it being gray, just simply means that Brad does not have Pulse open. Doesn't mean that I can't connect with him. It just means that he's not in Pulse, so that if I start chatting with Brad, it'll actually go into his link if he's on link, and if he's not on link, it'll go into email. So just to give you some visibility into our group browser, so here are groups. Again, you can follow and subscribe to groups. When you create groups, you have the option of exposing the group to whether it's employees or employees and customers. And customers you can kind of think of as anybody who's outside of the organization. What the customer would see would be a very slimmed down, refined version of Pulse that does not include access to, for example, the people capability. They only have access to the groups that they've been explicitly given access to. We also allow you to interact with enterprise business systems. Here you can see that SharePoint is actually what's known as a system hub. So SharePoint, as conversations are happening within SharePoint, they actually are exposed if you have access to them within here. So for example, I have access to one particular SharePoint web in my demo environment called example team site, and I can see the people that are following it. I can see the conversations that are happening. And again, this is in the web-based version. We do understand that some of our customers are more evolved than others in that maybe they do have my sites deployed. So we do allow this entire experience to exist inside of SharePoint. So I'll drill into Dynamics CRM, show you how we can have individual feeds. For example, we can see the wins feed, and again, this is these are based on events that are occurring within CRM itself, and we immediately add all the social capabilities around liking, following, sharing, tagging, things like that. Again, the objective here is to increase the accountability and the visibility of the wins and the losses optionally. If you want to expose when deals are lost, there's a lot to be learned as you lose deals. So going back to the home page, I'm going to drill a little bit into apps. And just to reiterate, apps can be a combination of a couple things. One, you can have filtering apps, and this is basically looking at your existing feed. For example, if you want to see the most recent, or maybe you just want to see where you're mentioned, you have a series of apps that are focused on filters. You also have a series of apps that are richer social experiences, and the one that I'll focus on today will be around messages. So this is your messages center. These are all of the private or group conversations that people have had with you. So for example, I can see that April Stewart actually reached out to me, or reached out to Ellen, and here's the conversation that the two of them have had. You can see that this occurred 15 days ago. There's some that occurred 14 hours ago. You can see that there are files that are within the context of this. If I want to create a new message, for example, with Jeff, I can just mention Jeff and say something to the extent of the latest proposal. And what will happen is if Jeff is on Pulse, meaning he has a browser open, he'll receive an instant notification. If he's not, he'll receive a link chat session. What he's able to do from there is share that conversation immediately within the message center itself. We also give you a new capability that we call favorites. Again, our objective here was to ensure that your newsfeed is as readable as possible. So here on the left-hand side, if I click on favorites, what you're looking at is an aggregated feed of individuals, of groups that I've marked as favorite. I did that by going to, for example, to Jeff. And up here in the upper right, you can see there's this little heart icon. When I hover over it, I can add him to any number of lists. I can define new lists. So what I have set up here is marketing and sales, but I can add Jeff to any particular list for quick access. The favorites list is slightly different in that what happens is up here in the user experience, if you add Jeff to your favorite, you have immediate access to this particular page. So it's more of a destination, where lists are more about aggregating content. So if I go back to just visualize this, if I go to this particular page and I click on favorites, what you see is an aggregated list of all conversations across all of my favorites. But what you see up here is actually, if I go into Jeff Hay from here, you actually see that it goes to that destination. So sometimes you want to have quick access to particular groups, and that's what the difference is between lists and groups. So moving a little bit more into groups themselves, I'll go ahead and drill into the Finder, and I'll go into the marketing strategy group. So this is a particular collaboration space where you're able to share files, conversations, but you can see there's this little bar that runs along the top here that says customers have been granted access to this content. What that means is that you can invite individuals outside of the organization because I've set the audience to include employees and customers. So again, you can simply send them an email, they'll receive an invitation, they set up a profile, and they have limited access only to the groups that they've been granted to. So let me go ahead and jump over into just to share some of the more SharePoint specific capabilities. So I've switched browsers. I'm now logged in as Jeff Hay, and I'm actually interacting with my intranet. So again, we immediately add this kind of social element to any particular SharePoint site. So you can see I have my activity stream where I can ask questions, I can share videos, all of the things that the Pulse native web UI provides. If I go into, for example, into a document center and I look for that launch day rules and regulations file, what I'm able to do is actually see the conversations that are happening within this particular document. So again, we had item level conversations as well as the micro embed. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and refresh here, and I'll jump into the My Site experience. Just get you familiar with what's happening here. So again, I'm logged in as Jeff. This is the default SharePoint My Site experience, but again, we've transformed that to add all of the social elements that people are coming to expect. You still have access to your profile. You still have access to your My Content section. You still have the ability to edit your existing SharePoint profile. We've just added a series of capabilities on top of the existing capabilities, the existing SharePoint capabilities. Again, I do have access to all of the systems, to all the groups. I also have the ability to share files. I also have the ability to upload directly into very specific document centers. So for example, previously I had uploaded to a specific SharePoint site, but now what I can do is I can drill into a completely different SharePoint site, maybe link to an existing document or even upload a new document right into SharePoint. If your SharePoint sites have required metadata, all of that user experience is exposed through here. And the last thing that I want to do is just retouch on the concept of the enterprise system hubs. And I'll do that by going back into my other browser instance and showing you how within Dynamics CRM we can expose conversations that are happening within Pulse itself. For example, this Jaxbox opportunity. When I drill into that, what you're looking at is the conversation that's happening within this particular opportunity inside of CRM. On the left-hand side, I can click View Opportunity, and that will actually take me directly into that specific op inside of CRM. So if I go into this Jim Do opportunity, and again, this is not Pulse UI, this is Dynamics CRM. But you can see how we can embed Pulse conversations inside of source systems and then expose those conversations inside the Dynamics CRM System Hub. Yep. All right, and this is still warming up. So you have access to all of the same kind of static content that you would find in CRM, but then above, you'll have access to the record wall that we've enhanced to include our activity stream. As it warms up here. Sorry about the delay. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just pause sharing. We'll go back to close out with some call to action items, as well as open up the floor for any Q&A that that you might have. All right, so the first call to action that we have is feel free to go out to neudesicpulse.com and sign up for a free trial. So we can do both cloud-based instances as well as on-prem based instances. So go ahead and go out there, read up on what Pulse is, and then contact us, and then we can get you set up on a trial instance. Also, in June, we will follow this webcast up with a business value webcast that will actually include some recent Forrester research that we've been included in. So it's going to be a really nice webcast that talks about what's happening specifically in the marketplace, as well as what organizations are doing with a concept called activity streams. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pause now and go over any of the Q&A that folks might have. So if you have any questions, I think earlier Kim had mentioned that you can go to the Q&A section and start typing in any questions that you have.
Thanks, Jason, for presenting, and we actually had a couple of questions come through. Like Jason said, if you do just go up to the Q&A bar at top, you can type it in during this time. The first question that we received is, you talked about integration with Facebook. What about LinkedIn, either now or in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so one of the things that we do specifically with Facebook allows you to authenticate with OAuth. So LinkedIn is what we're looking to do with LinkedIn is more profile integration, meaning pulling an individual's profile information from LinkedIn and merging that in with their Active Directory. So that's definitely something that we're looking to do.
Great. And the next question is, you mentioned CloudFront as a CDN. Do you plan on supporting others in the future?
We do. We went to market with Amazon, mostly based on its ease of integration, its pricing model, as well as its presence in the marketplace. But as Microsoft comes to market with their CDN, we're absolutely going to integrate with that as well.
Great. Thank you, Jason. At this time, I would like to ask just 3 short poll questions. Our first question, was this content helpful for your business? Yes or no?
And Kim, we do have a couple other questions, so after you're done with your polls, I'm going to go ahead and answer those as well.
Sure. You can actually go right ahead.
Okay, good. So one question was, would I be able to load profile information from external sources such as PDFs? You can absolutely preload profile information like first name, last name, cell phone, etc. Our natural integration point is with Active Directory, but I'd love to talk to you about your thoughts on PDF files. Maybe you're thinking of maybe parsing those PDF files because they have some interesting information, but maybe add a follow-up question, or we're happy to discuss it more in more of a dialogue if you have some time. The next question is direct messaging dependent on Microsoft Link? It's not dependent, but the experience of elevating a conversation into Link is nice. You can have kind of browser-based conversations, point-to-point conversations just in the browser, but we like our Link story, so we'd highly encourage that. What's the price policy for Pulse 3? So I'm not in a position to answer that one specifically, but Igor, if you want to talk, feel free to go out to neudesicpulse.com, just hit the contact us button, give us your email address, and we're happy to talk pricing with you. Will your next webcast show research done for B2Bs as well as B2Cs? Let me follow up with you on the specific content. What we're looking at, there was some specific research that Forrester is bringing to market around activity streams, and that's what we're going to focus on. But hey, we're happy to work with you and let you know more specifically what's happening in that future webcast.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to continue on to the next poll question. Please rate the content of this presentation, either excellent, good, or poor. And the last question, would you like us to schedule a follow-up? If you have any further questions about this presentation, please feel free to email Jason directly. We will be forwarding the link to view the recording of this webcast once it becomes available. Again, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. We look forward to seeing you on our next webcast. You are now free to disconnect.